What up? What up? What up? What's going on, 49er faithful? Thank you for tuning in to Keeping the Faith. I'm JD, and this is a special Saturday night pre-free agency edition of the show. We are just about a little over 36 hours away from the start of the legal tampering period in the NFL, which begins Monday morning, March the 10th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon on the East Coast. Uh, Look, Niner fans, I know are hyped up. They're excited. They're kind of feeling like a kid on Christmas morning, being that we're so close to the start of free agency. The Niners have a lot of needs. Let's be real. The 49ers have a ton of needs that they need to address between now, free agency, and ultimately the NFL draft. But look, I love this time of year. I love the offseason. I love the roster turnover. I love all the news and the huge signings that happen across the league and the things that happen unexpectedly. I love this time of year. I love free agency. And that's why I'm coming to you guys with a little bit of an announcement. Monday morning, for the start of free agency, I'm going to be live Monday morning, more than likely about 8:30, 8:45 Pacific Standard Time, Monday morning, for a special free agency edition of the show. And we're going to, hang out. We're going to react to news across the NFL and especially to anything that the 49ers do in the opening hours of free agency. I'm pumped up. I can't wait. It's Saturday night. I was sitting around and I said, you know what? I want to talk free agency with the faithful. And there are a lot of hosts, a lot of content creators, and I hate that term, by the way. I hate the term content creator, but for, all intents and purposes, let's just use it so everyone knows what I'm referring to. But there are a ton of content creators out there that talk at you. They talk at the fans. They talk down to the fans. They want fans to know, hey, I'm the guy who's talking about the team, and you're the one who's watching. Right? There's a lot of that goes on, and sometimes that kind of rubs me the wrong way, and that's a big reason why I like to do these live streams and interact with the 49er fans out there who are just like myself, a 49er fan. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a diehard 49er faithful, born and raised through and through. So I'm no better than you sitting at home watching this live stream right now. And by the way, if you are watching this live stream right now, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not. If you're new here, welcome. I'm JD, and this is Keeping the Faith, a live stream and a channel for the faithful, by the faithful. And if you're here in the chat, drop your ones. Drop your ones in the chat right now if you're here watching. If you guys are hyped up for the start of free agency, if you are anxiously awaiting what the 49ers may or may not do at the start of free agency, drop your ones. Let me see who's in the building. Let me say what's up to all of my fellow 49er faithful before we get the ball rolling here tonight. I see Fly Esai in the chat. He says, sign Drew Dalman, please. That's a big name. That's a big name that a lot of Niner fans, are excited about. They want to see the 49ers pursue Atlanta Falcons free agent center Drew Dalman, who of course has ties to the Bay Area and the 49ers. Mr. Laid Back in the chat. What's going on, Mr. Laid Back? Thank you for tuning in. I see Half Dead in the chat. He says, bruh, where the hell you been? I've been back. Where you been? I've been dropping videos, doing live streams. Where you been? I've been back. Check the channel. Come on, man. By the way, I'm not sure who you are. I'm not familiar with the name Half Dead. I don't remember you being around before. Maybe you're just typing in the chat for the first time. But if you're somebody I know, let me know who you are in the chat. Maybe who you were previously under a different screen name. But let's see. We got Where You Hiding. He says the champ is here. Where you hiding? Niners gang. Hashtag fly, Eagles fly. Where you hiding is an Eagles fan who likes to run his mouth here on YouTube. And hey, his team, they are the Super Bowl champs. What can we say? Hey, you won your second ring. Congratulations. But as far as I'm concerned, the start of the league year is on Wednesday, and that's when the rest of the NFL and all the fans can start hyping themselves up, getting themselves prepared for the upcoming season. And come Wednesday, your Super Bowl's old news, buddy. It's old news. It's been there, done that. It's over with. The new league year starts. The new season starts now, basically, with the start of free agency and approaching the NFL draft and whatnot. The 2025 season is getting underway on Wednesday, basically, with the official start of free agency, with the legal tampering period beginning Monday. So where are you hiding, man? Hey, enjoy your Super Bowl, man. You guys earned it. Congratulations, all that stuff. But it's old news. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. It's over. It's done. Congrats, though. Let's see. Half Dead says, I think I was subscribed to Hawk Hater. I used to be on that channel. Yeah, it's the same channel. It's the same channel. I just I changed the name to Keeping the Faith. Too many people saying, "Oh, you're more of a Seahawks hater than you are a 49ers fan," and we can't have that. Don't get me wrong. There's nobody on the planet that hates the Seattle Seahawks more than I do, but I wanted to do something more 49ers centered, and I actually changed the name to Keeping the Faith back in like 2020. So this isn't new. This isn't a new thing. So thank you guys for tuning in, though, nonetheless. Again, if you guys are here, make sure you let yourselves be known in the chat. Much, much appreciated if you guys are here. And like I mentioned, Monday morning for the start of free agency, I will be going live to react to everything that the 49ers do in terms of free agent moves, whether it's in-house free agents going elsewhere or the 49ers bringing in some new talent to the roster. And also tomorrow, Sunday, I will be putting out my formal 49ers free agency preview video where I give you all my thoughts on who I want the Niners to pursue, who I want the 49ers to retain, who I think may be leaving, what positions that they need to address in free agency, etc., etc. That video will be coming on Sunday, tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And we may do a surprise, spur of the moment live stream tomorrow, Sunday, before the start of free agency as well, depending on a few things. But that's kind of what we have going on right now. So make sure that you have your notifications turned on so that you know when we do go live. In the event it's not a scheduled stream. So, and again, we will be live Monday morning for the start of free agency, and I'm pumped up. I can't wait, guys. It's my favorite time of the year. I feel like I'm a 10-year-old kid on Christmas who's getting ready to open up a present with Pokemon cards in it or something. I'm hyped up, man. I can't wait. Cannot wait. Also, before we get the ball rolling and open up the faithful phone line where we will talk to you, the 49er fans, I want to let you guys know we are still trying to build this thing up. We've been dropping videos, going live here and there, trying to rebuild this thing back up and get the monetization restarted on this channel. As soon as we can get monetized, more often than not, I can go live and I can do more videos. I can do more things once we get that monetization going. But until then, we do currently accept Cash App and Venmo. That information is all down below in the ticker as well as the description box. Cash App, it's $JD49TD, and it's the same on Venmo at JD49TD. So if you want to support the channel while we grow this thing back up, those are the ways that you can do it for now. We will have memberships and channel perks and all sorts of different awesome things once we get the ball rolling and get the monetization re-enabled on the channel. There will be giveaways. There will be member-exclusive live streams, all kinds of stuff. I have a lot of things planned. So, don't go anywhere, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you hit the like button. Participate in the chats. Leave comments on the videos. Whether you like me, whether you don't, whether you think my content's good, whether you think it sucks, interact. Let me know. I'm all ears. I'm all open to whatever you guys have to say. And also, tonight, like I said, I'm going to be opening up the faithful phone line here in a minute. I want to know, whether you're in the chat, whether you're on the phone with me, what do you want the 49ers to do in free agency? All types of different content creators have given you their thoughts heading into this free agency period on Monday. But I want to know from the faithful, what do you want the 49ers to do? Given all the recent financial constraints that are being bandied about from the likes of Mike Silver and even John Lynch at the scouting combine, where he, mentioned that the 49ers are going to have to reel back a little bit of spending. What do you want the 49ers to do? What do you think is realistic in free agency for the 49ers at this point when they're talking about they want to be more cautious with their spending, more analytical in the way that they shell out all that money? What do you want to see from the 49ers? Niner fans are some of the most knowledgeable in the game. So I want to hear from you. Tonight's not necessarily about me, although I will give you my thoughts. But I want to know from you guys. What do you want to see the 49ers do in free agency? And not only that, what do you ultimately expect the 49ers to do in free agency? Wanting and expecting are two entirely different things. You can tell me you want, Drew Dalman from the Atlanta Falcons as your starting center. You want the Niners to go all in, push all their chips in the table, and sign Drew Dalman to the biggest deal for the free agent center, right? But you could also, in the same breath, tell me you expect that Jake Brendel is still your starting center, in 2025, given the givens. So I want to know in the chat, on the phone, however, what do you want and what do you expect? I'm all ears. And tonight it's all about me reacting to what you guys say. I'll come on here. I'll give my thoughts and videos. I give my thoughts on the live streams and whatnot. Oh, hitting the microphone. Usually I come on here and I have no shortage of opinions, right? But I want to hear from the faithful. That's the people that I do this for. I do these streams. I do these videos for you guys, for the Niner fans like myself who live and breathe, with 49er football. So I want to hear from the faithful tonight. What do you guys want the Niners to do? What do you expect the 49ers will ultimately do in free agency? With that, let me go ahead and take a look at the chat. I can only do so many things at once, so just bear with me. Let's see. Where You Hiding says, I found your great channel through my good guy, CG. Yeah, CG's a good dude. Shout out, CG. Appreciate you for checking out the channel, Where You Hiding. Mr. Laidback says, great channel. Hit the like button. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Eugenio in the building. He says, where's the Red Bull? Eugenio, man. Unfortunately, I had to give him up. That's part of the reason that I stepped away for a while. I mentioned it, in my first couple streams back. I was having some health issues. Some of you guys that were around before will remember I was having some health issues and stuff. So I had to take a step back for a while and deal with those things. That's why you see your boy drinking the water instead of the Red Bull. It sucks. I hate it. I miss it. But it is what it is. We're good. We're here. We're talking Niner football. And I don't need a Red Bull to get excited about 49er football. So, I know. Red Bull was like my trademark, my signature. I would be live here and I'd be drinking a Red Bull, getting hyped up, talking Niners football with you. But don't get it twisted. I don't need a Red Bull. I don't need caffeine to get excited when it comes to talking about 49er football. I mean, I just don't. I wake up in the morning hyped up to talk about 49er football. So, Fazil in the chat. What up, Fazil? Appreciate you for tuning in, my friend. Half Dead in the chat says, I want them to actually pick players that are projected to go in the round they're drafting and quit drafting punters and project players. Well, we're talking about free agency. I appreciate the opinion there. I appreciate your statement, but we're talking about free agency, my friend. What do you want to see from the Niners in free agency, which starts this Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time? Who do you want them to sign? Who do you want them to retain from their own roster? Who do you think ultimately may go elsewhere from the 49ers? The big name that I've talked about and everyone else on the, under the sun that is a 49ers fan has talked about is Dre Greenlaw. What do we think is going to happen with Dre Greenlaw, faithful? I'll be honest, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. Even though Robert Saleh is pulling out all the stops, doing everything that he can, it ain't looking good for the return of Dre Greenlaw, faithful. And I don't think I'm the only one who feels the way that I do, that I don't really necessarily care what else they do in free agency. Bring back Dre Greenlaw. He is the heart and soul. He is the heartbeat. He is the Energizer Bunny on this 49ers defense. He is the tone setter. He is the guy who He gets everything going. He makes everything work. Dre Greenlaw is that guy, and he is that damn important to the 49ers defense. And bringing back Robert Saleh, how could you not want Dre Greenlaw on this team? Robert Saleh was the guy that found him. Robert Saleh was the guy that developed him. If they don't bring back Dre Greenlaw, that's going to be a gut punch, guys. Point blank, period. And you saw what Greenlaw meant to this defense in that Rams game last year when he played basically like a half of football, but he looked amazing. And there was an energy that you could feel just from his presence alone. His presence alone on the field made the 49ers defense look like the Niners defense of old. Dre Greenlaw is that important to where his presence alone, Dre Greenlaw stepping on the football field, doesn't even have to make a play, but him just standing there on the football field, in the huddle, right? In the defensive formation. It is that important to this Niners defense. There are very few guys whose presence alone can impact the defense the way that Dre Greenlaw's presence can. And so, I've put out the video that there's rumors that the Niners are offering a 1-year prove-it deal worth up to $10 million with incentives. But let me tell you this. If they don't re-sign Dre Greenlaw, then what are they going to do? What's the alternative, Faithful? Are we going to go to D. Winters, who, yeah, he's talented, but he's extremely raw, extremely unproven? Are we going to go that route? I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're going to go that route. Are they going to draft a rookie? I mean, sure, I fully expect them to draft a rookie linebacker in this draft, but do you want him starting? Do you think he's going to come in and necessarily be like Dre Greenlaw 2.0? I mean, there's plenty of linebackers in this draft that I'm interested in. But I think it's a stretch to say that you're going to draft someone and they're going to come in and immediately fill Dre Greenlaw's shoes. They're just not. They're just not. And so if you lose Dre Greenlaw, what do you do in free agency? I mean, the next best thing, and everyone's talked about Jamien Sherwood from the New York Jets, right? He's going to be more expensive than Dre Greenlaw. He's going to command more money than Dre Greenlaw. He's 3 years younger than Dre Greenlaw. He's not coming off an Achilles injury. He's healthy. He's going to be more expensive than Dre Greenlaw. So if you lose Dre Greenlaw, you're not going to have him. You're not going to get Jamien Sherwood. I can't see the Niners, if they're not willing to pay Greenlaw a little bit more to retain him, then are they going to pay Jamien Sherwood a little bit more to come here? I don't know. I don't know. I'm what's the word I'm looking for? I am concerned. I am very concerned with the outcome of what happens with the Dre Greenlaw situation. And that's my number one priority in free agency. What do the 49ers do at that linebacker spot? I hope they bring back Greenlaw, but it's not looking good. All the reports are saying that he wants to, be the leader of his own linebacking core. He wants to be Fred Warner on another team. He wants to be the man. And he deserves that. If he wants that and he can get that kind of security from another team financially and he can get that honor bestowed upon him to be the green dot guy, to be the man, to be LB1, then Greenlaw, hey, go do your thing. I can't blame you at all. But damn, that one would hurt. That would hurt bad if Greenlaw leaves. And I know that a lot of people are trying to brace Niner fans for that potential outcome. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it, but I'm still keeping my fingers crossed at the same time. So hopefully Greenlaw will return. Let's see who we got in the, what's going on in the chat here. Let me get caught up real quick before we go ahead and open up the faithful phone line and take some phone calls. Fazil said he wants to build the trenches, O-line, and D-line. Thank you. That's the way I want to approach free agency. You're seeing the reports of the Niners potentially being interested in Jonathan Allen. Joey Bosa is available, right? Drew Dahlman at center on the other side of the ball. The Niners need to address the trenches, and I want at least one on each side, an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. They need to come out of free agency with at least that. So I agree with you there. Eugenio says, anyways, we need to beef up the O-line if we're going to be paying Purdy. That's a whole nother topic, too. If you're going to be paying Brock Purdy what everyone thinks you're going to be paying Brock Purdy, you need to invest in that offensive line. I mean, it goes without saying. Am I right? Where you hiding says, y'all need to get someone that's going to help keep Purdy's. Going to help keep Purdy's sea legs. Your center ain't it. Yeah, Jake Brendel, he's been serviceable. He's been a body. He's been the guy snapping the ball. But they definitely could use an upgrade at center from Jake Brendel, and hopefully they can do that. Hopefully they do that. CG Ruthless in the chat says, "Hey JD," he says, "D Winters gets more opportunities to start unless we sign a vet linebacker cheap." It's kind of looking that way. If they don't retain Greenlaw, I tend to agree with you. It's kind of looking that way. CG Ruthless says, "Heard the 49ers are interested in linebacker Jamin Davis." Yeah, special teamer from the New York Jets, familiar with Robert Saleh, familiar with Brant Boyer, the 49ers' new special teams coordinator who was there with the Jets with Saleh as well. Jamin Davis is a guy to keep your eyes on as a bargain free agent for sure. CG Ruthless again says, he's talking to where you're hiding. Okay. All right, so let me tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and open up the Faithful phone line. You'll find that phone number down below in the ticker. Should be in the description box as well. But if it's not, that phone number is 415-498-0946. 415-498-0946 is the Faithful phone line hotline number. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to talk to the Faithful. I want to see what you guys are thinking, see how you're feeling, see if you're as pumped up as I am as the 49ers quickly approach the beginning of the legal tampering period and the NFL's 2025 free agency period as a whole. The phone line is open, Faithful. So go ahead and give us a call. Let's chop it up. I want to hear from you. I want to get your thoughts. What do you think the 49ers should do in free agency? And ultimately, what do you expect them to do? We can want them to do anything in the world, but what do you expect them to do at the end of the day, given everything that we've heard lately about the 49ers trying to reel in the spending, about the 49ers, gearing up to pay Brock Purdy, working on a contract extension for George Kittle. They have a ton of priorities. They have a ton of high-priced money moves that they're going to be making. So what do you ultimately expect from the 49ers in terms of adding talent to this roster in free agency? I want to hear from you guys. Don't just type in the chat. Don't be shy. Hit up the Faithful phone line, 415-498-0946. Bear with me. Oh, we got a little bit of news from Tom Pelissero. Not non-Niners related, but interesting nonetheless. Tom Pelissero, three-time Pro Bowler tight end Zach Ertz is re-signing with the Commanders on a one-year, $6.25 million deal. That's interesting. The Niners definitely, that's another position the Niners need to look at as a tight end. They need to go get a tight end too. And Zach Ertz is now off the market. He's returning to the Washington Commanders on a one-year deal. So that was an interesting note as well. Wanted to figure out, oh, here we go. Got a phone call. And we go out to the 559. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
CG, man. What's up?
What's going on, CG? How you doing this evening?
Oh, doing well, man. Been keeping up with all the other stuff, especially in the draft. But, yeah, a lot of the stuff's going to be tough decisions. So what's your thoughts on a lot of the changes, bro? I like how we're cleaning up a lot of the messes so far.
Well, give me a specific one. Which one do you want to get my thoughts on specifically?
Okay. Let's talk about how do you think about the signing of that cornerback we just picked up, Trey Tomlinson?
Trey Tomlinson from the Rams. Well, I mean, he's a Thorpe Award winner. The dude's an athlete, but he was a free agent for a reason. So,
yeah,
sure, he has talent. He has, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a reason that the guy won the Thorpe Award in college, but there's also a reason that the Rams decided to cut him, and they could use help in their secondary, and they still found a way to kick Trey Tomlinson off the roster. But, okay, at this point, I'm all about kicking the tires on guys with talent and upside. The Niners always could use more bodies in the secondary. He may just be a camp body, who knows? But he could be a special teamer. He could provide some very good depth. I don't see him starting on this team. Not with Yamador Lenore and Renardo Green on the outside. But Trey Tomlinson is definitely an intriguing name for the 49ers. I still would want them to address the cornerback spot, whether it be in free agency or the draft. But I'm not mad at it.
No, I agree with it. Like you said, it can be quality depth or somebody on special teams. And, yeah, winning the Dim Thorpe Award winner means you're, like, the best DB in the country. But, the risk isn't too high. He's got 2 years on his rookie contract, so we'll see how it plays out. But like you said, we still will get a cornerback that gives us some quality depth right there.
Absolutely, man. And any other questions or what are your thoughts? What do you want to see from the Niners in free agency, CG? What do you want to see? Who do you want to see them go after? Who do you want to see them retain?
Okay. Well, I want us to get Drew Dolman. I want us to replace Jake Brendel. This guy is by far the worst center in football until we fix that part of that offensive lineman, just like where you're hiding was saying on the comment section. I don't know how it's going to get any better with this guy playing center.
Yeah, I mean he gets bullied, and that's part of the issue with the Kyle Shanahan run scheme is he likes guys that are lighter, more athletic, and can get out and move. And while that helps with opening up run lanes and whatnot, and filling that zone blocking scheme, it also leaves the Niners susceptible to getting kind of bullied up front sometimes. And Jake Brendel is definitely a guy who is not. He's light in the ass. He gets bullied, and the Niners need to get an upgrade there, 100%.
Oh, yeah. As far as a player that I want us to retain, I mean, I think it's pretty much a long shot. I don't know if we're going to get this guy. I would say bringing back Dre Greenlaw would be the heart and soul for this defense to come back to form, but looking at what you were just saying, he wants to be the guy, so maybe the chances of him coming back is looking slim.
It is. It's not looking good. It sucks. One more thing on Dahlman. I just thought of this, but all reports are saying that he's going to command between 13 and 15 million a year, and I feel like for Dahlman and for the Niners, quite frankly, I feel like that might be too rich for their blood. And the Chicago Bears, who are completely overhauling their offensive line right now, are rumored to be heavily interested in Drew Dahlman. So I don't see the Niners getting Drew Dahlman if they're getting into a bidding war with another team. And Dahlman's the number one center on the market by far. So he's going to have a market. There's going to be a bidding war. And the way the Niners are talking about how they want to spend their cap and they want to be more careful, I don't know if I see them signing Drew Dahlman. I just don't.
Yeah, I think that can be like something like you said. It could be a bidding war, but that would be my dream scenario, get a better offensive lineman. But if I had to go by realistic, like you said, I think mostly we're going to try to go with somebody that nobody knows about a lot, not a big flashy name, but I'm hearing a lot about Jonathan Allen, even though he doesn't quite fit what we're running on our defense. He's more of like what you look at Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, but Jonathan Allen, at this point, I think would be an upgrade over Javon Hargrave. Jonathan Allen is, he's 30 years old. He is older, but he does provide quite a bit as a pass rusher. Yeah, he had some injuries last year, but he's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a very good player in this league for a very long time. And if they can get him on a cheap deal, then I can't be mad at it.
No, I mean that's not. I mean I wouldn't get mad about it, but it's like he's not quite a run stopper in that kind of like from looking at the way he's played. His play's declined a little bit, but like you say, he's a solid pass rusher at times. But yeah, getting him on a bargain, I'm not against that part. But yeah, I can see why we were trying to make a trade with him, but then we decided to back out of that trade because it was too much to acquire with that cap space money that he got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But
go ahead.
Other than that, bro, I think I've covered pretty much everything you wanted me to do. Unless you got somebody waiting on the line, bro. I enjoy checking out what you got to do, bro. It's good to hear from you. Hopefully, we catch up at a game once again soon.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thank you for tuning in, brother. Have a good night, and hopefully, free agency is good to us on Monday.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, I need to get you on my show. Maybe we can figure out something soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll see, man. I haven't been live streaming enough on my channel as it is, but we'll see. I'll reach out to you.
All right, for sure, man. You have a good
Alrighty,
one.
you too. Shout out CG Ruthless for tuning in. Let's get back to the chat. Also, if you guys want to call in, the faithful phone line is open. 415-498-0946 is your call-in number, faithful. What do you want the Niners to do in free agency? What do you ultimately expect they're going to do in free agency? Again, that can be two entirely different things. There's the Niner fans who say, "Oh, I want Drew Dahlman. I want them to bring back Dre Greenlaw. I want them to sign, you know, every big name free agent under the sun." And then there's Niner fans who are more on the pessimistic side or the realistic side, saying, "I don't know if they're going to make a big splashy deal. I don't know if they're going to." Make a huge signing at 9 o'clock on the dot Monday morning when free agency begins. I don't know if there's going to be another surprise Javon Hargrave signing out of nowhere in the opening minutes of free agency like we got a couple of years ago. The way the Niners are talking, it seems like they're going to be maybe a little more frugal or maybe just a little more careful in the way that they dole out their cash this time around in free agency. Let's go to the chat and see what you guys are saying there. Give me 1 second. I just hit the wrong damn button. Gotta love it. Hit the wrong button. Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Luke Walsh in the chat says, "My number one free agent wish, center Drew Dahlman." That's the big name. Every Niner fan is all in on Drew Dahlman. Unfortunately, almost every team across the league that needs a center figures to be in on Drew Dahlman as well. That's the part that sucks about this whole thing is he's by far and away the number one center target on everybody's wish list. So if the Niners are going to get him, I feel like they're going to get into a bidding war, and I don't know if that's going to be the Niners' style this time around. So that's kind of how I feel about the whole Drew Dahlman situation. Sure, it'd be great to get him, but I don't expect it. I don't. Let's see. Luke Walsh says, "I'd overspend a bit on center because it buys a good player and draft best player available flexibility." I mean, yeah, that's another part of this. I want the Niners to address the trenches in free agency so that come the draft and with that 11th overall pick, they can go best player available. They don't necessarily have to go with an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman like most people are feeling the Niners are going to do with that 11th overall pick. Sure, you can still take that position, but you don't feel so compelled that you have to. You can go best player available. Or you can draft a guy who, may not necessarily be ready year one. And maybe an offensive lineman that you think, okay, maybe he needs a year of refinement. But we signed a guy in free agency, so we feel pretty good with where we're at. Who knows? But I definitely want them to address the trenches in free agency so that the draft doesn't feel like, oh man, if we don't get our guy, we're screwed. You know what I mean? So, Luke says he'd be cheap on the other positions. Half Dead in the chat says spend the big money on Dahlman, then get Ingram and build through the draft with multiple D linemen. Ben Barch at left guard. Yeah, it's looking like Ben Barch is going to be your starting left guard. The Niners were able to bring him back about a week ago with a short-term deal. It appears that he could be your starting left guard as Aaron Banks is projected to walk away from San Francisco in free agency. Excuse me, and sign a large lucrative deal. Maybe that's what the Niners do is go with Ben Barch. Maybe they draft a left guard in the second or third round, similar to the way that they picked up Dominic Pooney a year ago. So we'll see what the Niners do. Ben Barch did when he played last year. He played quite well, and so I wouldn't be mad if Ben Barch is your starting left guard. As long as they address it in the draft and get someone young in here, I'm fine with Ben Barch at left guard. Make sure that I'm not missing any calls. Okay. Yeah, I've been having issues with my phone app, my phone program. Sometimes it doesn't ring, so I wanted to double check and make sure. Mr. Layback says 49ers, please don't sign Joey Bosa. That's an interesting one. Most Niner fans that you talk to would say, hey, absolutely go and get Joey Bosa. Look, I'm fine with signing Joey Bosa as long as it doesn't break the bank. If it's a cost effective move, I'm good with it because you're killing two birds with one stone. First and foremost, you're getting an edge player. Joey Bosa played 14 games last year. He had 5 sacks. You know, you'd like to see that number up a little bit, but he did play 14 games last year after having, multiple seasons with, some injuries that limited to him to only a handful of games. So, but if Bosa's, somewhat healthy, I'm good with it as long as it's a cost friendly, team friendly kind of deal. And to play with his brother at this point in his career, I feel like he may take a little less to come here. And, I wouldn't be mad at Joey Bosa. I wouldn't, unless the number's too high. Then we have a problem, But I'm good with Joey Bosa. It fills your edge need, and you make Nick Bosa happy, which is also a good thing. And you think that's not going to motivate those two out there on the field? They're going to be racing to the quarterback. They're going to be challenging each other every snap. Hey, I'll meet you at the quarterback, bro. It would be. I don't see the downside in it unless the deal is just too expensive. So we'll see. We'll see. But according to Matt Mayoko, who is the godfather of 49ers media, he's saying he would be shocked if it doesn't happen. So Niner fans, I would be bracing yourselves that they're going to sign Joey Bosa. I have a feeling they may even sign Joey Bosa before Monday. I have a feeling that we could be waking up tomorrow with the news that the 49ers signed Joey Bosa. I'm not citing any sources. I'm not reporting anything. I'm not saying it's going to happen. All I'm saying is if we wake up tomorrow and we have a report that the Niners are signing Joey Bosa, I wouldn't be shocked. The way that everyone's talking, the way that the beat writers are talking, I would not be shocked if Joey Bosa is a 49er in the very near future. Half Dead says if we get Dahlman, just take McMillan. Yeah, Tetaroa and McMillan at 11 would make a ton of sense if you're able to fill those offensive line gaps in free agency. With all the rumors that they may be trading Brandon Ayuk here soon, you may have to go wide receiver at 11. I like Tetaroa and McMillan. I like Luther Burden. And so we'll see though. We'll see what they ultimately decide to do with Brandon Ayuk and that could be coming sooner than later because he is owed a very large roster bonus on April 1st. So there is a very small window for the 49ers to trade Brandon Ayuk before they have to pay him a large sum of cash. So we'll see. Luke Walsh says, losing Banks is not a surprise. I think he has more value in a gap scheme system. Yeah, see, Banks I've been up and down on Aaron Banks. I mean, his rookie year he barely played. He didn't seem like he was ready. Niners fans were ready to just write him off completely. Then he started his second year, and Niner fans loved him. He played great, right? But he just never really seemed to take that next step. And at this point, I don't see the Niners, overpaying to keep Aaron Banks when they can just draft a guy. And they have Ben Bartch. They can go to the free agency well and maybe get a value left guard for now, draft somebody. They have options, and I think that would be more prudent than spending free agent money on Aaron Banks, who, did have some injuries last year as well. Again, the faithful phone line is open, Niner fans, so if you want to call in and give your thoughts, again, that's what the show is all about here tonight. What do you think the Niners are going to do in free agency? I know that a lot of content creators, a lot of 49er YouTubers, they just want to give their thoughts. They just want to give their takes, and they want to talk, and they want to, push their narratives out there, right? A lot of guys are all about pushing their narratives when it comes to talking about the 49ers. But tonight, I wanted to hear from you guys. I appreciate everyone that is, contributing in the chat. I appreciate CG for calling in here to the show, and now is your chance. The faithful phone line is open. 415-498-0946 is your faithful phone line. Call in number. And again, if you guys like the content and you want to help the channel, you want to help support the channel while we continue to regrow this thing after being gone for a while, you can always hit up the Cash App or the Venmo, JD49TD on both apps. That would be $JD49TD on Cash App, and then on Venmo it's at JD49TD. If you guys want to help support the channel, much appreciated. Don't feel obligated, no need. There will be memberships, there will be perks, there will be giveaways, there will be members only live streams, all kinds of bonus content, all that stuff once I get the monetization re-enabled on the channel, and we are working hard to get that done. So, in the meantime, any support is greatly appreciated, and it would help me be able to do these live streams a lot more. That's for sure. CG Ruthless in the chat. Oh, my boy 49er Tone in the building. What up, Tone? He says, seems like it makes the most topical or logical sense for Bosa to come here, but the number to sign him is going to be interesting. I'm curious. Absolutely. That's how I feel about it. Mike Silver seems to think that the Niners, if they sign him, it won't be for more than $10 million. I saw that on Twitter the other day. Silver doesn't think that the Niners sign him for over $10 million. So if we can get Joey Bosa on a 1-year deal, or maybe a 1-and-1, 1 year with an option for under $10 million, maybe you know what? Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe you sign him to like a 2-year deal, right? You backload the thing to the second year with an option to get out of it after the first year, and you keep the cap figure low this year. And ultimately, if you can get him for under $10 million a season, that's the way I would do it. That's the way I would do it. And then what if they got Joey Bosa in free agency and Jonathan Allen? I mean, it goes completely against everything they said with getting cheaper and younger. But imagine a world where you have Joey Bosa, Jonathan Allen, Malik Collins and Nick Bosa on your defensive line. I wouldn't be mad at it. And then you go into the draft and maybe you get a Walter Nolan at pick 11, who, newsflash, that's my draft crush. I want Walter Nolan at 11. In a perfect world, I don't care what the Niners do in free agency, quite frankly. I don't care if they trade Brandon Ayuk. I don't care. None of it. I want Walter Nolan at 11. That's my guy. So think about a world where the Niners have Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa on the ends, Jonathan Allen and Walter Nolan on the interior. Whew, that would be interesting, Faithful. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Nobody's calling yet. Okay. Let's see. Half Dead says, if you're going to pay Brock, got to give him weapons. Yeah, and you already dealt Debo. You're already talking about dealing Ayuk. And even if you don't deal Ayuk, when's he going to play? Is he going to be October, November? You got to protect Brock. You got to give Brock some weapons. We saw Brock last year without all of his weapons and how he looked. So you got to give Brock some weapons. Let's be real about the situation. Maybe a Tetaroa McMillan at 11 isn't a bad thing, but free agency wise, I do expect the 49ers to go out and sign a veteran free agent, maybe a Rondale Moore, maybe an Elijah Moore. Those are guys that I kind of have my eye on potentially in free agency. I don't see them going after a Keenan Allen. I would be open to it, but I think he would cost too much. There's a few guys out there that interest me, but nobody I would break the bank for. Absolutely not. So it's going to be intriguing how the 49ers go about filling out their wide receiver room. And you never know. There could be trades, guys. That's a whole other component to the start of the league year. We could be seeing a bunch of trades here when things get rolling. So that's a whole nother avenue that the 49ers can explore in terms of filling the gaps on this roster once things get going. Half Dead says, I'm live and direct from Wilton, California. What? That's awesome. That's awesome, Half Dead. I'm not too far. Not too far from there. That's awesome. Let's see. Half Dead says, what are your thoughts about Davante Adams coming here? I put out a video the other day about the Jets releasing Davante Adams and whether the 49ers should go after him or not. Look, I would love it because at the very least, in the short term, he can fill in while Brandon Ayuk is on the mend. But he would do a lot of the same things that Brandon Ayuk would do in this offense as well. But my problem with the Davante Adams thing, and let's just say they retain Brandon Ayuk in the scenario where they go and get Davante Adams, right? When Ayuk comes back, he's making $30 million a year, so he's going to be on the field. You're going to have Brandon Ayuk, who has to be on the field based on the amount of money he's making. You have Ricky Pearsall, who has to be on the field given his first round draft status and the fact that he really showed a ton of flashes late in the year last year, and I want to see Ricky Pearsall develop. Then you're going to have Juwan Jennings, who, yeah, he's in a contract year, but he's a guy who's earned the right to be on the field. And then Davante Adams, like, I feel like there's only one football to go around. There's only 3 wide receiver spots really to go around because most teams only go with 3 most of the time. And so I feel like if you bring in Davante and you keep Brandon Ayuk on this roster, it would create a logjam down the year, and somebody's going to get pissed off. Somebody's going to get rubbed the wrong way. I'm not saying someone's going to quit like Devondre Campbell, but you could have a situation somewhat similar to that. That when Brandon Ayuk comes back, who's getting bumped out of the starting lineup and who's going to be happy about it? None of them. So I would love Davante Adams to come here. He would fill a big need on this team in the short term. But looking at it from 1,000 feet, I don't know if it makes the most sense. Now, I could be completely wrong because in a few days they could be trading Brandon Ayuk to a team like the New England Patriots, who are very heavily rumored to be interested. And then that opens up a spot for a guy like a Davante Adams. But then again, you have John Lynch and the 49ers talking about wanting to get younger and cheaper. So I don't know if Davante Adams is the answer. I would love it, especially if the Niners are truly committed to winning in 2025 this year. But, and yes, Davante Adams has said at least it's rumored that Davante Adams wants to be on the West Coast. So it would make a lot of sense, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll see. Another thing that I mentioned in my video, Davante Adams is 32 years old. And at this point in his career, do you think he wants to come to a team where not only is he not the focal point, he might not even be like the second option or third option some days? The Niners don't feature anybody. They spread the ball around. It's all about Kyle's offense and who he schemes open at any given time. And then not only that, if you're Davante Adams, you have to come here and block. And do you think a 32-year-old Davante Adams at this point in his career wants to come here and block like 60% of the time? I don't think he does. So when they talk about Davante wanting to come back to the West Coast, I see him fitting in much better with a team like the Los Angeles Rams or the Los Angeles Chargers, who have needs at the wide receiver position and throw the ball a lot more than the Niners do. So that's my thoughts with the Davante Adams thing. I feel like he makes more sense elsewhere than he does with the Niners for all the reasons I just discussed. So hope that answers your question. Half Dead says, I'd like Nick Bolton. Hey, I'd like a Camaro or a Corvette, but I don't got the money for it. And I don't think the 49ers have the money for a Nick Bolton. I like Nick Bolton a lot, but if they're not willing to pay Dre Greenlaw, what makes you think they're willing to pay a guy like Nick Bolton the money that he's going to command? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, man. I'm really, really anxious to see what they do at linebacker. Bring back Greenlaw, damn it. That's how I feel about it. Let me make sure I didn't miss any calls since this damn phone app doesn't like to ring sometimes. Again, if you guys want to call in, the Faithful phone line is open. 415-498-0946 is your Faithful phone line. Call-in number 415-498-0946. We have been live for about 50 minutes. We can go maybe for another 10 minutes if you guys want to call in and give your thoughts. Again, that's what the whole purpose of this show is, to hear from you guys. We had CG Ruthless call in earlier. A lot of you guys are contributing in the chat. Much, much appreciated. Hope you guys are just as excited for the start of free agency as I am. Again, if you missed it at the top of the show, I will be live Monday morning, probably about 8:30, 8:45. Haven't really quite decided yet, but I will be doing a live reaction show to the start of free agency on Monday, giving you my thoughts on anything the 49ers do, as well as any big news that happens across the NFL. I'm a Niner fan, but I'm also just an NFL fan and a football fan. So I want to hang out Monday morning and give you guys my thoughts on the start of free agency. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I'm a nerd for the offseason. I love all the player movement. I took Monday off of work just so I could, hang out and be immersed in the start of free agency so I can go live and talk to you guys and give you guys my live reactions, my immediate thoughts to anything that the 49ers do. I took Monday off work for it, guys. So that tells you how invested I am in the start of free agency. I'm hyped up, man. I'm pumped. I'm absolutely jacked. Half Dead says free agency, Nick Bolton and Evan Ingram draft tackle at 11. I like it. I wouldn't be mad at it. You know, if they could somehow afford Nick Bolton, that would fill in that linebacker spot next to Fred Warner very nicely if they lose Dre Greenlaw. I wouldn't be mad at it. That would be a very nice consolation prize. So I'm, you know, if they can somehow figure it out, I'm with it. But I have a hard time. If they're not willing to pay Dre Greenlaw, I can't see them wanting to pay Nick Bolton either. And that's the whole issue with that whole situation. If they don't want to pay Greenlaw, who should be fully healthy at the start of the season, I mean, he'll be like a year and a half removed from his Achilles injury. He should be healthy. If they're not willing to pay him, I don't know if they're willing to pay a Jamian Sherwood or a Nick Bolton. You know, we'll see. And as far as Evan Ingram, I feel like he may be another guy who's too expensive. You know, the Niners definitely need a tight end too, and I can see Evan Ingram going to another team where he'll be featured more and would get more money. But, you know, in a perfect world, Evan Ingram would be great, you know, as a tight end too behind George Kittle. I just don't know how realistic that is. Myles Garrett will look good in a 49ers uniform, says Salvador in the chat. Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. Myles Garrett would look really good in a 49er uniform. I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way. But, you know, I can't see the Niners making that move. At least not as long as the Browns aren't budging in terms of not wanting to trade Myles Garrett. You know, don't get me wrong. If the Browns are suddenly opening up trade talks and the Niners are throwing their hat in the Myles Garrett sweepstakes and they want to trade the number 11 pick as part of a package to go and get Myles Garrett, yeah, I'm with it. I'm good with it. Let's go. You know, put the pedal to the metal. Let's do this thing. I'm ready to play football on Sunday if they go and get Myles Garrett. You know, but again, younger and cheaper. Is Myles Garrett either of those things? We'll see. We'll see. Jeremy Barnett in the chat says, no, the whole Greenlaw thing is not about money. He wants to go ahead and lead his own defense. You're right. And we talked about that earlier. You're absolutely right. But again, money talks. He wants to go and lead his own defense. But if the Niners up that offer, and again, the reports are that Greenlaw will let the 49ers match whatever offer he gets in free agency, which we discussed in a recent video. If the Niners can offer Greenlaw a little more financial security, a multi-year deal worth a little more money, it appears that Greenlaw would like to come back. He will give the Niners the chance to match. So it's not only about money, but money matters. Yeah, Greenlaw wants to be LB1 somewhere, but if the Niners up their offer a little bit and give him a little bit of security, a little bit more guaranteed money, from all reports, it sounds like Greenlaw would be willing to come back. So money is not everything, but it's part of it. It's part of it. Jay Ellie in the chat says, what cheaper wide receiver do you believe the Niners are going to chase in this coming free agency? You know, I mentioned a couple names earlier. I would like an Elijah Moore. I would like a Rondale Moore. Those are guys that you know, interest me in terms of being more affordable at free agency, who can come in and help in the short term while Brandon Ayuk is on the mend, if they retain Brandon Ayuk. Those are a couple guys that I mentioned, or that I mentioned earlier, and that I would be interested in if they come at a cheaper price. Now, I'll tell you what, and I don't know how you guys feel, but if they do ultimately move off of Brandon Ayuk, I might just be good with them drafting a wide receiver at 11. Because there's not really a guy in free agency that I'm like head over heels in love with and want the Niners to bring in on day one of free agency. You know, the wide receiver class is kind of weak at free agency this year. And if they move off of Brandon Ayuk, they're going to have a gaping wound at that spot at wide receiver. And so I feel like even though they took Ricky Pearsall in the first round last year, they may go after a wide receiver early in the upcoming draft. There are some guys in the upcoming draft that I'm interested in later on, not necessarily at number 11, although I do like Tetaroa McMillan and Luther Burden. But there's other guys later on who would interest me as well, like a Jaden Higgins is a guy that I really like. But it's all about that Brandon Ayuk domino. What happens there? Is all the smoke about trading Ayuk real? You know, and even if they don't trade Brandon Ayuk, they got to do something because Ayuk's not going to be ready in September. You know, and even when he is ready, is he going to be who he was? That's the part of this whole thing that's just so frustrating. It's just such a gut wrenching injury, and it just threw a monkey wrench into all the plans that the 49ers had with Brandon Ayuk when they gave him that new contract, man. And it sucks. That whole situation just sucks. Justin Reed is a name that Half Dead brings up in the chat. That's a guy who the Niners have actually been linked to, that they've been kicking the tires around potentially in free agency, going after Kansas City Chiefs safety Justin Reed in free agency. Safety is another position that the Niners need to address. You know, a lot of people are hyped on Javon Holland out of Miami, potentially going after Justin Reed, who they've been linked to. I don't necessarily believe that they want to commit to Jair Brown as their starting free safety this year. Malik Mustafa is the starter. Talanoa Hufanga is as good as gone. But they do need to address safety. I like Andrew Makuba, just like a lot of people do in the upcoming draft. But as far as free agency goes, Javon Holland's a popular name. He's from the Bay Area. Justin Reed is a guy that the Niners are linked to. But I don't know if they're going to spend big at safety. But here's another part about the whole financial constraints thing. When have the Niners ever wanted people to know what they were doing? Did anyone expect the Niners to go and sign Javon Hargrave when they did? Did anyone expect the Niners to trade for Christian McCaffrey when they did? No, the Niners like to come out of nowhere. You hear a lot of smoke. You hear the Niners are interested in almost everybody all the time. And then, boom, they do something else that nobody expected. So all these reports about the Niners wanting to get cheaper and younger and not spend a ton, would I be shocked if they made a move that nobody saw coming? Yeah. Or not yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked if the 49ers completely did something different, because that's what they've done in the past. The Niners don't like to let everyone know what they're doing, and they come out of the left field with big moves a lot. So all this talk about being, more analytical and more conscientious about their spending, we could be waking up Monday morning to a huge move. And I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be either. So we'll see, though. That's what's interesting about this whole situation. Half Dead says Reed and Mustafa with the flex emoji. And Holland was a stud, but his injury worries me. Jay Ellie says a few Colts O-linemen available. Yeah, Ryan Kelly, center, is a guy who I've kind of had my eye on as maybe a contingency plan, even though he is older. He's a guy that maybe the Niners could get for cheap that would be an upgrade over Jake Brendel. Same with the Marshall defensive end. I'm assuming you're talking about Mike Green. But free agency-wise, there's a lot to look forward to, Niner fans. And they have a ton of money, So we'll see. We'll see, guys. But we've been live for an hour now. And unless anyone calls in, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Again, there will be a free agency preview video that I put out on Sunday, giving you my thoughts on guys that I want the 49ers to potentially target. And a lot of those names haven't been discussed tonight here on this live stream. So keep your eyes peeled for that video if you want to get my specific thoughts on what I think the Niners may or may not do in free agency. And then Monday morning, about 8:30, 8:45-ish on the West Coast, I will be going live for a reaction show to the start of free agency and giving you my thoughts, my immediate reactions, my either disappointment or pure excitement to whatever the Niners do when the clock strikes 9 a.m. Pacific time and legal tampering commences across the entire NFL. I'm hyped though, guys. I'm excited. This is one of the best times of the year, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. Again, make sure you have your notifications on. Make sure you're subscribed. You hit that like button. Drop a comment on this after we're done. All that good stuff. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Um, and again, watch out for the video tomorrow. My free agency preview is coming on Sunday. Jay Ellie says, still hating those Hawks? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. There's nobody on the planet that hates the Seattle Seahawks more than your boy. So that'll never change. Even though the name on the channel may have changed, that'll never change. So with that, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Be on the lookout for more content. Be on the lookout for more live streams, and keep your fingers crossed, faithful. Let's hope that the Niners, bring in some talent to upgrade this roster starting on Monday. With that, I will catch you guys very soon, and let's go Niners.